And I suppose I looked at a number of locations in Belfast and up in the Guildhall, up in Derry, Londonderry, and in the northwest. And they've got fantastic windows. And I thought to myself, well, we'll have them in Belfast, in East Belfast as well. So hopefully I'll show you a few of stained glass windows in East Belfast that you haven't seen before, and maybe some of them you have seen before as well. So let's say the first ones are to do with the churches, and this is the first one. Again, this is one of the many photographs that Nigel has provided. So this is in Mount Pottinger Methodist. This is perhaps my favourite one. And you can see it depicts John Wesley. And it's John Wesley's name there. I think this is a closer up one. So there he is with the Bible in his hand and preaching. So he's the founder of Methodism, and he visited Ireland 21 times between 1747 and 1789. On his second visit, in 1748, his voice could scarcely be heard for some time for the noise of the people in praising God. And he soon began to preach at 5 o'clock in the morning, quote, an unheard of thing in Ireland. So I don't think it's been heard of since. I don't think people get up to preach at 5 o'clock in the morning. And he continued to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to preach at a number of locations in 1748, including Philipstown, Tullamore, Clara, and Athlone. So at the base of the window, Gregor, could you kill the lights just altogether? They're outside, just on the. So at the base of the headstone, the base of the window, you'll see it's like a tour T-shirt, a John Wesley tour T-shirt, and so it says about some of the locations where he preached. So you'll see there Dublin, Moat is County Westmeath, Philipstown. Now Philipstown is now called. Anybody know what it's called? Oh, well done. Dangan style. Is that how you pronounce it? Dangan. Daingean. Yes. Dangan. So it's in. It was originally called Dangan was originally called Philipstown since 1556, and it was established as the county town of the newly shared Kings County that was planted by Mary the First. So the town and the county were still named after Mary's husband and co-monarch Philip, who was the titular king of Ireland. When the Free State was founded in 1922 then, the village was renamed Dangan. Is that what it is? Dangan? And at the same time as County Offaly Kings County was then referred to as County Offaly. Same one with Queen's County around 1922, and Queen's County became Laois. Yes, exactly. Dunleary became Ballyborough.
No, Maryborough. That was Port Laois. Yeah, that was Maryborough.
All right. And Kingstown became Dunleary as well. So, so that's Philipstown, and then Bandon in County Cork. Tyrrell's Pass, which is now seems to be all one word. That's also in County Westmeath. Athlone, which is in the junction of Westmeath and Roscommon, and then Cork. So it's kind of cool. It's like as I say, his tour Wesley's tour T-shirt for his 1748 tour, and it's on a stained glass window. And the stained glass window itself was erected was installed in cherished remembrance of Doris M. Kelly, a lifelong lover of Mount Pottinger. So the next one is also in Mount Pottinger Methodist, and this is the Belfast Telegraph from reporting about the installation of the windows, each of the 7 windows in the church on Sunday the 19th of June 1945. And all these windows were designed by the Cloakey Studio of King Street here in Belfast, and they were dedicated by the Reverend Edward Whittaker. And the Belfast Telegraph of 19th June 1949 says, triple windows represented the congregation's memorial to the sons who fell in the last war, and its members who perished in the air raids when surrounding property, including the East Belfast Hospital, in other words, the Templemore Avenue, was destroyed. So this memorial was also in thanksgiving for the preservation of the sanctuary from major damage. So you can maybe see across the top, it has vigilance, and it says resurgo. Resurgo is a Latin word meaning I rise again, or I rise anew. And then the third word then is valor. And then at the bottom, it says watch and pray here. And then it says here, I couldn't quite work out what this meant, but it says men, it says like, and then quit you. So men like quit you doesn't make sense to me anyway. But apparently, if you read it from the bottom up, this is the way you do it. Apparently, it still doesn't make sense to me. Quit you like men. And quit you like men is a Bible verse. It is from 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 13. And it means to be courageous, strong, and mature in your faith and actions. It's an exoneration to stand firm, be vigilant, and act with bravery, especially when facing challenges of adversity. So this is appropriate because it's their war memorial window by the Clokey, designed by the Clokey family. So this is the you can see at the base here, and it's a bit of a close-up. You can see here that this is the Mount Pottinger Methodist, and you can see the flames behind it as well. So when it says at the bottom then, in cherished memory of our sons, in other words the church's sons, who fell, in grateful tribute to those who served, and in profound gratitude to Almighty God for the preservation of this church during the air raids of 1941. This window was being placed by Mount Pottinger congregation. So, is that your favourite? One of your favourites, certainly?
One of my favourites because it's one of the few, possibly the only, specific memorial that commemorates the German air raids by name. So in that respect, it makes it unique. But any Clokey window is, they stand, to me, Clokey windows are head and shoulders above any other manufacturer.
Yeah.
You always see they have their name. You can just hit the very bottom corner. Yeah. But their windows are just stunning.
Not as good as Kerry's, though. Have to say that.
Different era.
Hi, Stephen. So you'll see the two years of the war here, Second World War, 1939 to 1945, either side of the base. So it's interesting as well from the Belfast Telegraph article to say that which notes that the hospital was destroyed during the Blitz. It's not really perceived that it was certainly very damaged, but it seems to have been. Yeah, well, fair enough. Had to shut it, yeah. So the next one then is in St Mark's, Dundela. And you can see St Mark's, Dundela from here. And this is is it a triptych it's called? A triptych of windows, stained glass windows. And these ones are in memory of C.S. Lewis's parents. So again, you'll see across the top here, you'll see St Luke, St James, and then St Mark. But the representation of St Mark's is above St James, which seems a bit incongruous to me anyway. And then you'll see the three saints that I mentioned earlier depicted there. And the base of the window, it says, it says in Latin. So these were dedicated in 1935 by C.S. Lewis, known as Jack, and his elder brother, his only brother, Warney, in 1935. And they were in memory of their son's parents, the boy's parents or the lad's parents. And the Latin inscription translates as, "To the glory of God," and dedicated to the memory of Albert James Lewis, who died on 25th September 1929, aged 67, and also his wife Florence Augusta Hamilton, who died on the 23rd of August 1908, aged 47. 1908 was C.S. Lewis's Annus Horribilis. It's when his mum died, pardon me, and it's also when his uncle died and his paternal granda, and it's also the year then he was sent off to school in England. So people think that C.S. Lewis, particularly English people, think he was English, but he actually lived for the first 10 years of his life happily here in East Belfast. So that's the C.S. Lewis one. It's dedicated by Lewis and his brother in 1935.
Excuse me, can I ask who made it?
Nigel?
I don't know, but there's a fantastic website, www.glowing.
Which doesn't work. It doesn't work. No. Well, Stuart and I both tried it the other night. It didn't work.
It was working for me yesterday and today.
Really?
Anyway, Google it. It's
Glowing is Gloine.
yes.
Yep.
Glowing as in window, glass, and there are photographs of all the stained glass windows in Anglican churches in Ireland, apart from St. John's Lagenbach.
And does it
So it'll
tell you who designs them?
It generally will say who the designer was, who the studio that produced it, and things like when it was unveiled or dedicated, if it's known, and also what the iconography is. So, for example, if this was the iconography would be St. James, St. Luke, and St. Mark, but for some others it would be something like the armour of God, or whatever it depicts. But yes, check that out. If you want, I'll write it down for you later
Yes,
on.
afterwards I'll get that. Okay, thank you.
And you can do that by each church that has windows, each
Right.
Church of Ireland
Okay,
church.
thank you.
So the next one then is also in St. Mark's Dundela, and it's this one, perhaps done by the same people.
It doesn't look. I mean, the other one.
It's a bit brighter.
Well, see, to be honest, if I was saying, I would have thought that was from the 1960s, just with the design. It doesn't look like a 1930s window.
Okay, right.
But.
Are you saying I'm wrong? It's just,
No,
it's a distinct possibility.
I'm saying that the designer of the window was way ahead of his time.
Yeah. So this is slightly closer to the front of the church, and this is in memory of the Thompsons. The Thompsons lived in a wee house which is still there, and it was called Penryn. Penryn is now Strathern Prep. So where my daughter went for 7 years. So everybody else was pulling up with their little darlings and their Chelsea tractors. I was the only one pushing my daughter and I had a push bike before I went into work. So, but Penryn is now it was a private house back in the day, and it was where the Thompsons lived. The Thompsons were a very wealthy family, and they owned handkerchief manufacturers. So back in those days, handkerchief, there was a lot of money in handkerchiefs, etc., and fancy linen. So they were handkerchief manufacturers, and they lived in the house Penryn, which is still. If you look at Penryn, the Strathern Prep, if you look to the left, that was where Penryn one was. The other one was called Rusholme or something like that. So, these windows were dedicated to this man. And along the bottom of the windows, in other words, here, it says valor, sacrifice, and love. But along the bottom, there's a big line here. It leads from your left along to the middle, and then again along, and it reads as this. And to the glory of God and loving memory of Major Lloyd Thompson, MC, which is Military Cross, RFA, Royal Field Artillery, who was killed in action at the Battle of Cambrai, 1st December 1917. This window was erected by his mother and father, Mr. and Mrs. James A. Thompson of Penryn, Strandtown. So that's what it says if you read across the bottom. So, but if you read this section here, and if you do it wrong and read that there and then read along there, similarly start reading there and along there. If you read the middle one under sacrifice, it says, in memory of Major Lloyd Thompson, MCRFA, who was killed by his mother and father, Mr. and Mrs. James A. Thompson. So it's rather unfortunate that's the wording. So Nigel and I, thanks to Nigel for the photographs, these photographs as well. Nigel and I spoke to a lady who had, when she was a young kid, her family used to sit near this window, and she spent a lot of her youth thinking that James must have been particularly bad, or sorry, Lloyd must have been particularly bad to be killed by his mother and father. So that's a little quirky one from St Mark's, Dundela.
Peter, sorry, just to interrupt.
Oh, you're going to tell me the answer?
I'm going to give you information. The Thompson window was by Warden Partners of Belfast.
Okay.
So that would have been designed probably by Francis Ward. Did you say, what year did you say it was?
Which one, the Lewis one?
Yeah, this one here.
I didn't.
All right, that's okay. But the Lewis one was...
It's getting dark, Nigel.
I know. But the lady here...
I know.
For information.
Sorry, I regret interrupting you. What was it?
Okay, the artist was Michael Healy, 1873-1941, and the studio was Antur Glowen.
Oh, right.
Oh, yes.
Which explains why it's
Tower of Glass.
so dramatic looking.
It looks a bit like Harry Clark, you know, with those very
Harry
sharp
Clark.
blue.
Harry Clark was one of the prime
Movers.
in the Anglo Tour. Anglo Tour just means the glass tower. It says date 1932, and it has Nicola Gordon Bow, David Caron, Michael Wynne, Gazetteer. Oh, so that's a reference to a book that it's in. But yeah, the Antur Glowen, a lot of their windows are very ahead of their time. I mean, if you look at that, that's 1935.
Five.
The next one would have been probably around about early 1920s, possibly the late, somewhere a couple of years after Lloyd's death, but probably 1920s. I could check, but I'm not going to.
Thank goodness. Thank you for that. So this is the next one. This is in Craiger Presbyterian Church on, funny enough, Craiger Road. And this is their Millennium Window. So the church itself opened in 1900, this was unveiled in 2000 to commemorate both our millennium and the church's millennium. It's an amazing window, I think.
Excuse me. The millennium wasn't until 2001.
That's right. If anybody has ever been described as a pedant, this is Mr. Nigel Henderson. He is the chief
I
pedant.
am a living definition of that word.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's right.
Oh, well, that's true. Yes. Yeah.
Always right.
But, and he's not single. I can't understand. He's been married for 47 years or something.
No, 43.
43 years. Happy anniversary, Nigel, to you and the long-suffering Karen. Dear helper. So this is a bit of a close-up of the Millennium Window from Craiger Presbyterian, but you'll see here a representation of the moon landing here on this window. You might be able to see it. This is Belfast City Hall. And for anybody that's worked in shorts here, this is, I don't mean like Stephen, who always wears shorts, like he probably is now. This is a short sky van represented in this window here. And then...
We also see there's an LGBT rainbow in there.
Oh, yes. It's not like you to be controversial, Nigel.
No,
and then the other window then, you can see this is the representation of an atom, I think. And then... it's not a snowflake. It's just a bad photograph.
Could be about the big winter of 1963.
Could be, but it's not. And then you'll see then this is the representation of the church itself. And the church is known as the Rock on the Plain. And in fact, the history of the church was written by a lady, the minister's wife, a lady called Jessie Barber. I'll talk about I'll talk about the Barber shortly. But you'll see a representation of a ship that was all right when she left here. There, you'll see Titanic. You'll see a representation of Stormont, Parliament buildings at Stormont, Pedant, and then a previous location of the church before it moved into its current location, and then the little memorial here, which says, "This millennium centenary window was erected to the glory of God and in thankfulness for all those who contributed to the witness of this congregation over the past 100 years. Unveiled and dedicated on Sunday, 24th September 2000. And the final one in this section, and I missed the space shuttle. See the space shuttle there as well? Amazing.
And the peace symbol.
The which piece?
Yeah, the dove and the smack in the middle.
Here?
Yeah, well, the one.
Oh, there, yeah.
The dove piece, it was obviously because it was shortly after the Good Friday Agreement.
Oh, right. Good thinking. So, and then the fourth one then is this. The fourth section is this. So that seems to be from a hospital, people operating in a theatre. I have absolutely no idea what that is, but that is a radar as well. So again, some of the industries maybe that made Belfast a very successful city. And then in the bottom right, then it is an old iron hall where on the site of Craig Presbyterian where the church started at first. And then down here again, as is common, bottom right, it says Lead Lines and David Esther Studios. So that's who designed this particular one. Also in Craig Presbyterian Church then is this window. And again, I'll break it down into three. So the top of it, it's dedicated to one of these men, this man here. This is a man, so it says on the window, at the base of the window, erected to the memory of the Reverend W. Arthur J. Barber, B.A., beloved minister of this church, 1944 to 1975, the gift of congregation members and friends. And then it says, a new commandment give I unto you, love one another. So this is This is Arthur Barber here. And this is his dad, who was the first minister of Craig Presbyterian, David Stewart. And so, the windows at the top, it says, that's where it says, a new commandment I give I unto you, love one another. And you can see a representation of Scrabo. And the relevance of that, Scrabo Tower, the relevance of that is that the Reverend Barber died in the pulpit after retiring. He died in Regent Street Presbyterian Church in the pulpit. He'd retired to the Ballybarnes Road, so that's the reference, where you could see Scrabo from his house. So that's why there's a reference to Scrabo. And then this is I presume this is the Sea of Galilee with some people listening to Jesus talking. And then that's the inscription there. So the Reverend David Stewart, his grandson, and the Reverend Arthur Barber's son was this man, who you might know from, I've written a number of books, I don't like to talk about it much. This is my 7th book, and it was about Stuart Barber. So Stuart Barber is, it's his parents who that window was dedicated to. And Stuart's mum, Jessie, she was the lady who wrote The Rock on the Plain, the official history of Craig Presbyterian. So Stuart Barber on Saturday will start his most recent madcap adventure, where he's walking more than 500 miles around Northern Ireland to raise money for Cancer Focus. And he's recently got a BEM, or I said it should be a BUM, but he got a BEM recently, and he's raised over £51,000 for Cancer Focus. And when he's doing his fundraising, he always carries his rucksack and his gear. So, as I say to Stuart, there's Sainer and Knockbracken. So that's he's 72 now. So 72 coming on 12. So this is another church. This is St Honor's Church, not far from here. And this window, again, thanks to Nigel for the photograph, is a spectacular window. But I'll explain a little bit about the window itself. That's a bit of a close-up. So in the middle of it, you can see these guys. He doesn't look... he must have listened to one of Nigel's talks. And at the base then, it says, it says right across the way, it says, to the glory of God and loving memory of Margaret Armstrong Anderson, whose life was sacrificed through the sinking of the RS Lusitania, torpedoed by German submarine, May 7th, 1915. And it says, presented by her husband, George A. Anderson, Pittsburgh, PA, is that Pennsylvania, USA. So again, this window was dedicated to Margaret. And sinking of Lusitania, as folks might know, essentially, correct me if I'm wrong, Nigel, essentially brought the Americans into the war, into the First World War. It was sailing towards America. It was sunk, and lots of people were drowned, including Margaret.
Was it sailing this way?
I thought it was sailing that way, but I could be wrong.
The Germans said that the reason they sunk it was because it was carrying armaments and material for the war effort.
Well, Lusitania was sailing anyway. We can agree on that. So the next one then, I'm going to just rattle through these ones. These are all, again, provided by Nigel. And in case you hadn't guessed, they're all in Castlereagh Presbyterian Church. So there's 6 of them. So I'm going to rattle through the first 4 particularly. So just that's a bit of a close-up. Amazing pieces of work. These are all cloaky windows. Again, that one. So if you focus down onto this guy, you can see how they're amazing pieces of work. Again, this one, the greatest is love. And if you focus into the middle guys here, you'll see these guys here. And then that one, I focus in on this guy here. So they're amazing, I think. That's the War Memorial window there, so that's why it says victory at the base. But this one here, this one is one of 2 dedicated to the Reverend Dr. James Little. And it says at the base, to the glory of God and memory of the Reverend Dr. James Little, BA, BD, MP, a beloved husband and father, minister of this church from 1915 to 1946, imperial member of the Parliament for County Down from 1939 to 1946. This window is a tribute from his widow and family. So it's a beautiful window. The other one, then another cloaky one, again to the Reverend Dr. Little. It says, to the glory of God and remembrance of the Reverend Dr. James Little, BA, MD, MP, a true friend of little children and a loved and fearful minister in this church from 4th November 1915 until 31st March 1946 when he was called to higher service, erected by the congregation and friends. So these 4 windows were unveiled the last 2 windows were unveiled on the 10th of April 1949 by Mrs. Jeannie Graham Little and Mr. John Crawford, JP, and dedicated by the Reverend Dr. James Hare. So Reverend James Little, as mentioned, died on the 31st of March 1946, aged 77, and he's buried in this is for Jackie, he's buried in the neighbouring graveyard. So this is a photograph of his headstone, again provided by Nigel. So Jackie is an expert graveyard and cemetery researcher, and one of her most recent projects is Castlereagh Presbyterian Church. So if you think you've got relations buried in Castlereagh Presbyterian Churchyard, speak to Jackie at the back there, just in front of Justin.
It's interesting that that's in the shape of a cenotaph.
Yeah. And the burning bush, the Presbyterian burning bush at the top as well, Arden said Verons here as well. So this is closer down to here. This is St Matthew's Chapel, just along the Newtonards Road here. And there's about maybe it's about 12 or a dozen of these type of windows in St Matthew's, and they're a bit unclear, these ones, because I took them using my iPhone, so they're not as good. But if you zoom in slightly so they're both of these are the victims of the 1920s troubles. People, including myself, are very naive or are very ignorant about the 1920s troubles, but sadly along the same narrow-minded lines as the more recent troubles, and so, a lot of the flashpoints were similar in the 1920s, and a flashpoint, again like the most recent troubles, was down at St Matthew's there, so at the bottom of the Newton Ards Road. And these two windows commemorate two victims of the Troubles in the 1920s. It's hard to see, but it says, "Pray for the soul of Hugh MacDonald, R.I.P." So Hugh MacDonald was a 20-year-old travelling in a tram from the city centre to his home at Saul Street in the Short Strand. The tram was halted by a group of armed Protestants on the Queen's Bridge when it was going over the River Lagan. The gang asked if there were, excuse my French, any Fenians on the tram. Hugh panicked and tried to get off. The so-called loyalists ran after him, pinning him down in Memel Street, where they beat him to death. So Hugh's memorial window was paid for by his grieving mother, Margaret, and it contains a beautifully crafted icon of a pelican. So again, it's very hard, apologies, but it's hard to see that as a pelican. And a pelican is a Holy Catholic symbol, because in legend, the bird pierces its breast with its own beak to feed its young. It's a representation of Christian art of Christ sacrificing himself. So that's the memorial window in memory of Hugh MacDonald, R.I.P. And then the one beside it, again, pray for the soul of John O'Hare, R.I.P. And John O'Hare was another Catholic parishioner, and he was savagely beaten and then drowned after being thrown into the Lagan 2 days after Hugh MacDonald's murder. In other words, on the 23rd of May 1922. So again, not far from here, two memorial, beautiful stained glass windows, but very sadly erected in memory of two victims of the 1920s troubles, who died two days apart from each other. This is, I've never actually been in this church. This is from the internet. This is over near you, Mark. This is St Andrew's Presbyterian Church at Knockbreda. And this window is Neil Shawcross's oriel window. It was designed in 1971. It features two intertwined trees which represented the Presbyterian and Methodist congregations. So I think that's there.